always was that active and defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man.
People deluded, I'm back again, a bit under the weather, but the show must go on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you're blessed. I hope you're all in good spirits and things like that, people. And I hope you're all in good health, man. I'm a bit under the weather, but as I said, the show must go on. So yeah, I hope you're all blessed. Please make sure you've hit the like button, you've commented and subscribed. I know Arsenal fans were getting quite nervy. It's the 18th of January. You know, I urge caution. You know, let's give the club the luxury of waiting until the end of the window if we're going to have some negative comments to make, you know, but let's just hope that, you know, they pull a rabbit out the hat. Let's see what's going on in the world of football, really and truly, or relation to transfer news and things. As I said, please make sure you're commenting either in the live chat or the comment section under. You're commenting, you're subscribing, you're turning on your notification bells, you're checking out the rest of the content, you're checking out the YouTube playlist. And at the time of making this vid, it will be out before then. It's Crystal Palace, against Manchester United, people. Obviously, for Arsenal fans, we play them on Sunday. I'll be doing a watch along for that, but live from 7:50, 10 minutes until kickoff via Twitch and YouTube. Make sure you're following on both. I'll be doing a live stream for such or a live watch along with you lot for such, people. So yeah, make sure you're not there. Even if you're not there, please make sure you hit the button, boost engagement and that. Now, Arsenal's search for a wide man continues, innit, people? Don't know why my screen is not sharing with you guys. It's a bit orcs. Here we go. Finally, delay. Just before we get onto this Moussa Diaby stuff, the Athletic, I get it. We all get it. Chelsea fans, they won the battle for Mudryk. I'm sure Chelsea fans just want to deal with him from a playing point. Arsenal fans don't care. But in true Athletic fashion, they're milking this, people. You know, I was just kind of skim reading this. I'm not going to go over it all, but I do think there's some interesting sound bites. Apparently, Mudryk might have joined Bayern Leverkusen last summer for as little as 20 million euros. Mikel Arteta, Zinchenko, and Edu all spoke to Mudryk to try to get him to Arsenal. As we know, people, the Shakhtar Donetsk director of football was at Chelsea's defeat to Manchester City, and we all know, while he's on an 8-year contract and it's a significant uptake in his weekly wages, his wages are relatively low, people. Where Chelsea are concerned, he earns less than Hudson-Odoi and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But considering he signed a 7-year deal, 8.5 if you consider the 1-year extension, if he develops and shows this Ballon d'Or potential, the Ukrainian Neymar and all of that jazz, he will, obviously, like any club, not just isolated to Chelsea, people, he will probably be given, you know, a better deal, you know, better than the 97k a week, really and truly. Apparently, Arsenal offered 50. As I said, we saw them there. Admittedly, the salary the Ukrainian will pick up at Stamford Bridge is bigger than that proposed by Arsenal, not astronomically so. That might surprise those who assume the only reason Chelsea beat Arsenal to the signature of one of the most exciting young talents in Europe is they offered a significantly larger financial package. How else could a player who was posting pictures of himself on social media accounts watching Arsenal games in recent weeks instead end up joining one of their biggest London rivals, a club who currently sit 9 places and 19 points below them? But that's not set in stone. Chelsea will hit back anytime they finish 9th, 8th, 10th. They always come back the next season. Let's be real, they're in a transitional period. I don't know if Graham Potter's the right or wrong man. I just think Chelsea will get it. Like, it will click eventually, innit, really? So I wouldn't get hung up on where either club is at this moment in time. Of course, as an Arsenal fan, I would not trade where Chelsea are at this moment in time, people. We all know they signed him for 70 million euros. Who really cares anymore? Arsenal offered the same amount and split as Chelsea, albeit the speed at which the various installments would be paid would markedly different on their bid. Neither does it boil down to his salary. Mudryk will be earning 97k a week at Chelsea. Arsenal had been speaking to him since October, according to Shakhtar's chief executive, and their contract offer was within 10k per week of that, eventually accepted across town. Such a relatively small disparity is hardly a deal breaker. He's earning 5 million a year until at least 2030, people. There's an option of another year. It's still a tidy sum and represents a significant more than he would have significantly, more than he would have been making if he had stayed at Shakhtar, and marginally more than at Arsenal. But in the context of salaries commanded by other Chelsea members of the Chelsea senior squad, it is relatively low. Obviously, Sterling earns a lot more. Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek earn more than him at this moment, just by a little bit. I don't really care about none of this Chelsea stuff, people. So I'm just going to scroll down until I see bits of relevance, people. Naturally, there is optimism at Chelsea that this will not be the case. There's also great satisfaction to be had in beating Arsenal to his signature. Beat us on the football pitch, mate. Having already signed another one of the Premier League leaders' transfer targets, João Felix on loan from Atletico this month, the jubilant mood at their Cobham headquarters was exposed by their posts on the club's social media accounts over the weekend before and after the deal was done. They're still celebrating the fact Mudryk headed to West London rather than its northern districts. Rewind a few weeks and a few would have thought that likely. Chelsea spotted an opportunity. Just a fortnight ago, the sense within the game was that Arsenal were on the verge of formalising a long-muted deal with Shakhtar to sign Mudryk as a mid-season Philippe for their ongoing title challenge. When former Shakhtar Donetsk, Chelsea and Arsenal winger William went for dinner with the Ukrainian club director of football Sane and Arsenal and Shakhtar forward Eduardo da Silva in London that week, the conversation lingered for a while on Mudryk and how eager the Premier League leaders were to secure the now 22-year-old. And obviously 24 hours later, you saw him in the VIP box, people. Those present crunched some numbers for all that was nothing formal was proposed. Chelsea's opening offer when it came did not come close to that made by Arsenal, who remained the front runners to sign the player. Mudryk had been a target for Arsenal since the summer when they identified they needed to bring in a wide forward after sanctioning Pepe's season-long loan to Nice. Their first choice had been Rafinha, and at one stage they actually found themselves competing with Chelsea for the Leeds player. I mean, the same article, the same publication, The Athletic, they said Barca were first, Chelsea were second because they had Champions League football and it didn't bang. So we haven't learned anything new. To be honest, this article is a bag of tosh, really. Then they turned their attentions to Pedro Neto. It didn't work, people. Obviously, with Partey now and then they're getting injured, we shift our focus towards the centre mid and we failed to bring in Douglas Luiz, Danilo, Telemans, so on and so forth. At the time, the fee being suggested for Mudryk was significantly lower. Bayern Leverkusen of the German Bundesliga thought they had an agreement in place with Shakhtar and the player to sign for as little as 20 million euros. The goalpost only shifted once it became clear that there were other suitors in the market. So Shakhtar have been doing that. Brentford tried to sign him for 30 million euros. He did have interest from Everton and Newcastle. Now, there's nothing wrong with being blown out the water by Chelsea, but I think we need to learn from this. If we wanted him in the summer and it didn't happen, maybe we should have, in the months that it said Zinchenko, Arteta, Edu, and all these guys speaking to him, could we have got an agreement? So literally the 1st of January, he's an Arsenal player. Or do you find these players before they become public knowledge? If Brentford, Leverkusen, Arsenal, Newcastle all wanted him in the summer, they didn't just wake up in July and say, let's go for him. They were scouting him before. It's a bit like we've been linked with the Napoli lad, KK, I can't pronounce his name. Lovely player, would sanction 100+ million on him, if I'm completely honest. But they signed him for 10 million quid from Ruben Kazan, I think. So can Arsenal either move with more speed or can we find these players before they become public knowledge? Well, to us football fans, or can we just can we just find emerging talents? There's always something to learn, people. Could we have potentially paid more if we was that convinced on the guy? Arsenal are doomed to, and Chelsea, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Where Arsenal's concerned, people say we lack ambition if we don't get it done. Them same people say we probably overspend, people. We all know he did the business in the Champions League. Arsenal were increasingly convinced he would be the perfect January acquisition for them, someone who could make an immediate impact to bolster this season's surprise title push, perhaps as a match winner off the bench, but also a figure who would become a key part of the project for years to come. They felt adding him to Martinelli, Saka and Jesus would give them one of the most exciting group of attackers in Europe. The club's recruitment team, including Edu, stepped up their efforts to make a deal happen. Arsenal contacted the player almost 1.5 months before they contacted us. Can you imagine, for example, to have Mikel Arteta, Zinchenko, and the sporting director Edu calling you, to have Arsenal calling you almost every day, every 2 days, every 3 days? You can want or not want the move, but you follow this kind of reception and contacts, people. Obviously, they wanted 100 million euros. Arsenal balked at that. he did confirm he met Arsenal on more occasions than he did at Chelsea. So Chelsea, you met us more times than Chelsea. Chelsea were putting the money down. So it is what it is, people. Shakhtar were unhappy with the schedule of payments and achievements that would trigger the add-ons proposed by Edu. The negotiations became tense, the talks increasingly challenging. No agreement was struck. In essence, Arsenal had given Chelsea something to beat, and crucially, the current world champions then took matters into their own hands. We all know that their co-owner flew over to Turkey, met with them. Long story short, the guy's a Chelsea player, really and truly. So it doesn't really make sense, people. Apparently, it was stressed to Mudryk that Chelsea would provide him with a platform to excel. He'd have a major role to play in the new project as a key player. Despite the squad at Stamford Bridge already having several players who operate in Mudryk's favourite position off the left, apparently they stressed how he would arguably face stiffer competition for game time from Martinelli if he chose to join Arsenal. I mean, if he was trying to join Arsenal way before Chelsea, trumped us to the deal, he had to have known that, really and truly. And you don't think Chelsea, the club they're at, can bring in players better than you? So they did well. It is what it is, people. So yeah, I don't really care for this anymore, if I'm completely honest with you, people. It don't really make sense. If there had been an opportunity for Arsenal to make a counter offer, it was passed up. They had indicated the structure of the deal they were prepared to strike, and for all that the talks had become strained, believed the ball's still in Shakhtar's court. Fundamentally, what seems to have made the biggest difference was Chelsea's more proactive approach. A source privy to the situation, who asked not to be named to protect their position, explained why they beat Arsenal to the signing, who was out there in Turkey and who was not there. A pre-agreement was in place and some initial paperwork got signed. As you know, they all flew on the same plane to London to complete the formalities. The man's a Chelsea player, innit? And where Arsenal and him are concerned, I mean, the closest he's going to get to Arsenal, at least and probably until he's 33, is Arsenal Kiev. So best of luck to you. Arsenal just need to move on, really and truly. We have been linked with Declan Rice, people. Arsenal plot move for West Ham captain Declan Rice as confidence of summer deal grows, people. Arsenal are planning a summer move for West Ham midfielder Declan Rice and are growing in confidence that a deal can be done. As you know, his contract is done in 2024 and he's rejected 3 offers to stay at West Ham. Chelsea, Manchester City and Manchester United are all allegedly interested. Arsenal are now increasingly optimistic of beating their Premier League rivals to the £80 million rated England international. West Ham would not entertain a departure this month, but have conceded internally they'll have to sell him this summer. Rice's contract contains an option of, a 1-year option, but the London Stadium Chiefs believes this summer is their last. So we'll have to see, really. I'll believe it when I see it. Saliba, apparently there's talks of him signing a new deal, people. Arsenal plan to step up talks with William Saliba's reps next week as they look to agree a new long-term contract with the 21-year-old, sources have told ESPN. As you know, we triggered an option in his contract to extend it until 2024. Sources have told ESPN that Arsenal's last contract offer was rejected by Saliba, and there remains a significant difference between the player's demands and the club's current proposal. However, there is a willingness to extend on all sides, and the club remain confident an agreement can be reached with Saliba's agent due in London for talks next week. The man himself said as well, people, he said, "I'm so happy here. The club is speaking with my agent and me. The only thing I can do is focus on my football. I'm so happy here," which is facts. We've been linked with Zaniolo, which, again, his contract is running down and it doesn't seem settled at Roma. Where Vlahovic, Locatelli, Milinkovic, Savic, we've been taking around the houses for several talents out of Italy. So I look at this with a pinch of salt. Quality player on his day, the capacity to score goals, technically brilliant, 23. My only issue around him is, he's had 2 massive ACL injuries. How much has that taken out of him? What's his physical conditioning like? But Arsenal sound out Roma's Zaniolo over potential January move. He was linked with Spurs primarily once upon a time. Multiple reports in Italy claim Arsenal have sounded out Nicolo Zaniolo's availability over a potential move in January. Apparently, they claim the Gunners want to bring Zaniolo to London in the winter transfer window. The article also says, people, via Di Marcio, he claims that Zaniolo is valued at around 30 to 40 million euros. His contract expires in 2024, so they might hold on to him and let him go in the summer. And there has been talks, but it ain't banged. And in fact, apparently talks over a potential extension have not begun yet. His agent provided the latest updates in December, claiming that he demanded a salary in line with the club's transfer value made on him over the summer. Apparently, he was booed by his own fans in a 1-0 victory over Genoa in the Coppa Italia last week, but was defended by Jose Mourinho. Why he was booed, only God knows, people. This Italian journalist correlates that he could leave as early as January, contacts in progress with Arsenal, divorce is possible, his price is between 30 and 40 million. The club does not want a loan, only a dry transfer. I can't speak Italian, but apparently Zaniolo is going through a complicated period with Roma between whistle, stress, fever in his contract. He claims 4.5 million, including bonuses, to extend. Without him on the pitch, his team scored 70% of their goals, whatever that means. In that regards, Arsenal make contact with Bayern Leverkusen over possible transfer for France winger. We've heard this before. Arsenal make contact with Bayern Leverkusen over France international winger Moussa Diaby after missing out on Mudryk to Chelsea. Gunners also keeping tabs on Raphinha, though the Brazilian is unlikely to move in January. Apparently, Leverkusen do not want him to leave, people, and in the summer they quoted interested clubs 100 million euros, 88.5. I mean, Arsenal were prepared to commit 70-80 million on Mudryk. You kind of indirectly showed your hand to every other club that has a winger that we might want to sign. He is contracted until 2025, so they do have a bit of leeway. But should DRB not sign a new deal at Leverkusen, then they're going to face an eye on having to move him on, people, really. And you can see he scores quite high for goals scored, assists, big chances created, take-ons, through balls, and he'd primarily play off the right, people. If you're completely honest, check out the other videos because we kind of gone through a lot of these things. If I'm completely honest with you, keeping up things. I don't know what this means. Oh, this is a video. If we was on Twitch, we could watch that. Raphinha. Apparently, Arsenal insist on signing Raphinha, people. The Gunners have contacted the Brazilian's entourage, who does not see anything clear about leaving Barcelona. Arteta likes the player a lot, and if they don't get it now, the Londoners want to position themselves for the summer market, evidently, if he doesn't improve. Pardon me. The Brazilian winger likes the Gunners coach a lot and is asking the sports managers of the London club to sign him. Arsenal has already contacted the footballer's entourage to convey their intentions to him. They want him at all costs and are willing to fight for his incorporation this January. Raphinha is flattered by the interest, but right now he is not clear about leaving Barcelona because he wants to continue fighting for a position and become a decisive player in the new Barcelona that Xavi is building. It must not be forgotten that coming to the Nou Camp was always his priority, and he made an effort to do so. There are some factors that have not helped Raphinha to consolidate in the team. The Barca team stopped playing with two pure wingers quite a few games ago. And on the right-hand side, Xavi trusts Dembele more. On the left, the Brazilian's performances drops because he can't make one of his favorite plays, which is to dribble inside and shoot. The Barcelona coach spoke with the player and they clarified things. Raphinha is willing to fight with the Frenchman for playing on the right because he understands that is where he can perform more and better. Xavi is happy with him and his involvement in the group. It is very difficult now in January, Arsenal can convince him to leave Barcelona. They've slapped 100 million euros asking price after spending 55 million on him. Don't know if Arsenal should do that, but the English club will take advantage of talks with his entourage and the Barca club to remain well positioned in the case the possibility of a departure opens up in the summer. In this case, things don't change. They change a lot for the player. The Gunners already wanted to sign Raphinha in the summer, but Barca won the game. The desire of the Brazilian player to come to the Nou Camp, as well as Deco's good relation with Barcelona, was key for him to give up signing for another Premier League club. And again, people, apparently Deco's got a good relationship with Edu, but Chelsea could sign anyone, but you'd imagine that they'd leave him alone considering they've got other players now. Apparently, people were looking at Ivan Fresnadar, and apparently Arsenal and Fulham remain in contact, or better yet, talks over a sale of Cedric Suarez, people. The only thing looks like that's holding that down is his wage demands. 31 years of age, he's on 65k a week. Fulham are discussing both loan and permanent moves for Cedric, and Marco Silva is driving their interest in the 31-year-old. He's made just one Premier League appearance and just one start, which came in the League Cup against Brighton, where we obviously got dumped out. The Portuguese international knows Silva from their time together at Sporting and is open to a renewal if Arsenal decide he can leave this month. As you know, we already have Ben White and Tomiyasu as options. Apparently, the Gunners are interested in Valladolid teenager Ivan Fresnadar and has spoken to the reps of the 18-year-old about a potential move. Fresnadar is a promising young talent and he would be viewed as a long-term signing for Arsenal, with Valladolid likely to keep him on loan for the rest of the season, which is true. He's played 9 times he's in the right place, really. Let him stay over there, in my opinion. Understand that for Diaby to Arsenal, there isn't nothing concrete at this moment. It's possible this winter, but not a great chance. Leverkusen asked for 80 to 100 million for him, people. When you look at Diaby for goals, he's 7th, people, since the start of last season. He's 7th in Bundesliga with 19 goals. He has 15 assists, and that ranks him 2nd for big chances created. He's 2nd with 25 for take-ons, 169. He's 2nd. Through balls attempted, 18th from 4th. He'd have to be able to be taught to play on the left wing, but it's an exciting player. I'm not exactly mad keen on Diaby, but I think we could do a lot worse. Big up Freddie Paxton. Leandro Trossard is not really the type of winger Arsenal have been targeting up to this point. From what I understand, the club are not interested in making a bid at this point and are still discussing the best option internally, people, which it is what it is. We've kind of seen that already. Arsenal are interested in right back Ivan Fresneda and have spoken to his reps about a move. The 18-year-old would be viewed as a long-term target for Arsenal, with Real Valladolid likely to want to keep him on loan for the rest of the season. The former Real Madrid Youth Academy prospect, it would probably make a lot of sense to just let him do that, return to Arsenal more confident. Romano has said despite links with Arsenal, both Raphinha and Ferran Torres want to continue at Barcelona. So this is the situation as of now. Arsenal are still discussing internally about the best candidate for a new winger, people, says Fabrizio Romano. So him and Freddie Paxton are kind of correlating the same thing. Arsenal are not looking at a move for Leandro Trossard as they line up alternatives, also says the Football Insider or Footy Insider. I mean, it looks like Raphael could sign a new deal at AC Milan. That would be lit, wouldn't it, people? But I can't see that happening. Apparently, Sky Sports is Caval has said on Declan Rice, lots of clubs are interested in signing him, so there could well be a bidding war for him. He brings a lot to the table, but the price is going to be at least 80, 90, 100. I think West Ham would be looking at something like 100 million. Be a great long-term target for Thomas Partey, option for Thomas Partey, but it is what it is. We've also been linked with Victor Osimhen, people. I mean, his primary come out of Spain. He plays in Italy. The reporters come out of Spain about 2 English clubs. Football is diverse. Things happen elsewhere, but the initial things, it doesn't make sense. Both teams could do with another striker, more so United than us, but it makes sense. I don't know anything, but I don't see us spending 120 million euros on him, people. With us, you can make a case of spending a bit more on a winger. Fernando Torres has addressed rumours of him moving to Arsenal. Orlando confirmed to me that there was contact with Arsenal, but then I left for the World Cup and I didn't want to hear about a potential transfer at that point. So the conversation stayed there. But now that I'm back with the team, we'll see where the conversation goes. I would love to play in Europe. It's a dream I've had since I was a kid. At the moment, I am focused on Orlando City, but La Liga or the Premier League would be my targets, and that's where the rumors are coming from. But yeah, I would absolutely love that, people. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on. Since he signed for them, people, he signed a 4-year deal. He's got 9 goals and 10 assists in 33. He helped them lift the US Open Cup for the first time in the club's history. And he's probably in a bit of a pre-season because the MLS season kicks off or re-kicks off or whatever on the 25th of February. So would he be in the best of condition? Apparently, people, Graham Bailey has told 90 Minute Sport that Ferran Torres could be the attacker for Arsenal to sign. He's a player who Arsenal have liked for a long time, even before he left City. Mikel Arteta knows this boy well. I think he is a perfect fit for Arsenal. I really do. Of all the players linked, I think Ferran Torres under the radar could be a sensational pickup for Arsenal, but didn't he leave due to homesickness? Keep an eye on this. This one could happen. It's got chances. Barcelona could loan him. So yeah, I think Ferran Torres could be the one that Arsenal turn to. We'd have to see. The goal.com have done an article, people, about other targets that we could look at. I mean, it's listed Raphinha. We've been here. Zaha's contract is running down. We did try to get him in 2019. I don't know, people. It could be a decent short-term option, people, and he'd be a bit different from what we have. Same goes with Trossard. Probably leave them alone. We were previously linked with Fernando Torres. Diaby is going to cost a crap load amount of money. I'm not involved in the Marcus Thuram thing personally. I'd rather Ferran Torres, but we don't know if any of that's going to happen. To wrap this up then, let's see what goal.com have also said in relation to us being linked with players. Let me refresh the page, people. Well, we know Fulham are in talks with Cedric Suarez. Arsenal are on alert as Chelsea look to shift Sterling. Again, linking it from Spain. Arsenal have re-added Sterling to their transfer wish list as Chelsea consider offloading the England international in favour of wingers Pulisic and a blockbuster new signer. Pulisic's contract's running down. He just signed for 50 million on a 6-year deal. I'm not too sure that makes any sense, people. He's currently their leading goal scorer, and it's a turbulent time. Sterling attackers will look a bit better if the club got their act together. At 28 years of age, I'll take Raheem Sterling, and obviously he's worked with Mikel Arteta before, but Myth, we've heard that we've inquired about Diaby as well. Apparently, we're keeping tabs on Mitoma, the 25-year-old at Brighton. Once again, we've been linked with Declan Rice and are confident about such. A few days ago, apparently, we were ready to bid, or better yet, ready to lodge a £71 million bid to bring in Vlahovic, people. I'm not too sure we're there. A bit like Barcelona, Juventus find themselves quite turbulent off the field, people. We've been quoted €100 million for Raphinha. We've just spoken about Fresnadar. Shout out for a Okonkwo who's gone to Stuttgart on loan in the Austrian Bundesliga. So who really knows anything like this? I mean, we've been hearing about Mudryk. The Mudryk thing is done now. We just have to leave that one. So in relation to reports and rumors, that's all there is, people. Again, check out my other videos. Smash the like button. Please let me know your opinions. Do not forget Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Watch along today, people, from 7:50. Also Manchester City Spurs tomorrow, which will be Thursday from the same time. Saturday, live from 12. I think I'll be live from 12 p.m. They're all done. We're watching Liverpool Chelsea. 3:30 because it's 4:30 kickoff on Arsenal versus Man United on Sunday. So, you know, watch alongs, transfer news, general football opinions. Make sure you're following across Twitch and YouTube to get all your fix. Appreciative to all of you lot who support my content. Appreciate everyone who's been listening, offering their opinions, smashing the like button, boosting the YouTube algorithm, and ultimately the engagement. Hope you lot remain having a good week. Stay blessed, stay safe. God bless you all. I'll see you lot soon. We'll soon link up again.
Because you always use that active and defending.
I think it's like